Good evening, guys. Trucker G here.
I'm Mrs. G.
Did a video it's been about a month ago called FMCSA is a bad joke, and I tell you what, it made its rounds.
It ruffled some feathers.
Had about 1,100 comments and another almost 1,000 shares, and like Mrs. G said, it ruffled some feathers. But I'd like to go over some of the comments, because I didn't really respond to the comments as I seen them, because I was a little bit floored by the comments that I heard. Here's one of the newer ones, and we'll just kind of go through. I'm not going to go through all 1,100, that's for sure, but we'll go through
just a few that stand out.
Like I said, this is a new one. She says, I don't know. I kind of don't mind the ELD. In fact, I like it much better than being forced to drive 62 straight hours. Never been forced to drive 62 straight hours. If you're driving 62 straight hours, I'm wondering what kind of drugs you're doing. And don't get me wrong, I think I understand what you're kind of saying.
Pretty sure that the person worded it incorrectly.
And well, let me just finish reading the comment here. It says, I've never taken a 30-minute break. I drive for 6 hours, take an hour nap, and then drive 4 or 5 more hours, and then I'm done for the day. Well, whether you do a 30 or you do an hour, that's kind of considered taking a 30-minute break. Whether that 30 minutes turns into an hour or turns into 2 hours, it's a 30-minute break.
Your nap still meets the 30-minute break guidelines.
Yeah, you met the criteria.
Well, hello, Miss T.
Planning your day will help with the stress of not feeling rushed or like you're stuck and can't be where you want, or need to be where you want to be there. I don't know. Maybe I just look at it differently. That little ELD is handy for sure. I don't have to record every move I make on my own, so less stress for me. Guys, I wasn't bitching about the ELD. What I was bitching about was the hours. And it wasn't just a 30-minute break. That just happened to be the example that I used.
At that moment.
And I was going to get into more, but I won't want to read the comment where they actually comment on what I was going to comment on. Elvis says, PC it. Heard a lot of PC. Unplug it. Go to PC. Don't you have PC? Guys, you need to learn what that little green book says, what you're allowed and not allowed to do.
And you're definitely not allowed to unplug your ELD.
And yeah, that's a fireable offense.
They say, bye-bye, see you, there's the door.
And whether you use paper log or ELD, my morals say I shouldn't have to lie for anybody. If you're saying, well, that's why I use paper, so you're telling me you don't use the ELDs because you'd rather do paper because you'd rather lie. Just be honest with yourself, and because you're not lying to me, because I've done enough fudging on paper books back in the day that I know exactly what you're saying. But my morals as I'm grown, I'm not lying for nobody. Why don't we just make the rules to where we don't have to lie? There's no difference between that ELD or that logbook. That ELD don't tell me it's time to go to bed. The ELD tells me that my hours are coming due. The only difference between that ELD and that logbook is you can fudge and you can lie. I'm not lying for nobody nowadays. And we'll go through that a little bit more. Robert says, that's what you call poor planning. You knew you couldn't make it home in under 8 hours. All right, let's talk about trip planning. All right, we left at about 2 o'clock that morning. I'm a horrible driver because I don't know how to trip plan. You should have stopped and you should have got fuel. That would have used up part of your 30-minute break, and then you could have just took the rest of the time to finish out that 30-minute break along the way. Well, I'm an owner-operator. Had a full tank of fuel. It's cheaper for me to get fuel in Missouri than it is from where I was. I'm not going to stop along the way, pay more money for fuel to fuel my truck in order to do a 30-minute break, number one. Number two is I already knew that I was going to be about 45 minutes to an hour shy of being able to make it to the house. So why did you run your full 8 hours and run out of hours? Because I planned it that way. I would rather stop in Norwood, Missouri, where I knew I was going to find parking, because you're not going to find parking just anywhere at 3 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning. It was easier for me to go all the way up to about 8 o'clock in the morning, get to Norwood, where I knew there was going to be parking. Trip planning, I think I've got trip planning after 30 some odd years driving. I think I got trip planning pretty much understood.
And not to mention the fact that we were going through a major city, so that if we hit that major city before rush hour traffic in the morning, that's a plus.
Exactly.
Just
There's
saying.
all different things. Hey, you two knock it off. There's all different things you have to consider. But people see the video and they all automatically assume that this guy don't know what he's talking about. He's a rookie, and they want to make these bad comments because that's not how I would have done it. I don't care how you'd have done it. You do your truck your way. I'll do my truck my way. It's worked for me for almost 30 years, for over 30 years. And I've gotten by pretty damn good. Let's read some more of them. Amy, why are you wasting our time by complaining on something when you can roll home on PC for home time? No, you cannot. Not legally. I was laden, which it doesn't matter if you're laden or unladen, but I was under a load, and in order to roll home, I would have had to roll to a secure drop lot, one of our secure drop lots, or a terminal, which we have no terminals in Missouri, but I do have a secure drop lot. That was forwarding the load, which is illegal to forward your load, and then drop the trailer and then PC home. Once I dropped the trailer and PC'd home, I was good, as long as it was at a drop lot or a terminal. Going home, PC back to that terminal. Sounds to me like a lot of you guys are using PC illegally, and God forbid you guys have that 7-year audit and you get that ticket. Please know that green book a little better, and if I'm wrong, please let me know where I'm wrong. But know the rules and regulations. No one is saying, Travis says, no one is saying this. Sitting for 8 hours is bad for you. Get out of the truck. Still blood flow in your legs does make you more tired. I drive, by the way. And you're exactly true, Travis. And I'm not even gonna try to rebuttal that. I mean, it's true. Back in the day, I mean, heck, I did it for 14, 15 hours straight. But it doesn't make it any healthier. Shad said, could have helped. Oh, well, we ain't gonna do that. That's kind of, well, it is after dark. He says, have a little mommy and daddy time for that 30 minutes. Well, there's a lot of different things I can do for 30 minutes, but that 30 minutes probably would have turned in a whole lot longer because I would have needed a nap afterwards. Tammy says, so very true. She agreed that it's a dumb law. But she said, do you not have PC option on your ELD? Gotta know what you can use PC for and what you can't use PC for. Albert says, F and run it and quit crying. So just go illegal, quit crying. Guys, that's just the thing. And I'm just as guilty of it. For so many years, I was guilty of it. But I'm not guilty of it anymore. I'm not going to make things happen anymore. And that's what we did for so many years. A truck driver just made things happen. Brokers, or your company gives you this load. You get to the receiver. They take 6 hours to load you. You only had 3 hours to play with. And legally, you can't make it. But guess what we used to do? We fudged it a little bit, and we made that load happen. And these shippers and receivers and these brokers got so used to us truck drivers doing what we do, making this stuff happen without any compensation. And now they take advantage of it. They take advantage of the driver just making it happen. If we'd stop just making it happen and actually say, you know what, you're just got to reschedule, I don't know what to tell you, and take that loss a little bit right now, they would stop doing it, or they would start compensating us. They would have to start rescheduling these loads, charge them your detention time, charge them the layover time, and get paid for this stuff. maybe it'd stop happening. Benjamin, he agrees with me. 30 minutes takes me out of the groove. Really don't want to do anything after I stop. And I'm the same way. Once I stop, I'm just kind of, I'm ready to be done. Wanted to kind of go through a few. You don't know. This Pedro says, you don't know nothing, brother. The only thing you can do is go to PC and go to entertainment, and you can go as far as you want. It's totally legal. Yeah, it's totally legal to go to entertainment, but I wasn't going to entertainment. So what you're telling me is I don't know nothing because I don't want to lie. Where's your morals at, brother? We shouldn't have to lie. Change the rules to help the drivers out. Get rid of that damn 30-minute break. Get rid of that 70. That 70. I was just complaining about the 30-minute break that day. My whole rant that day wasn't really about the 30-minute break. That's just what we were experiencing at that time. My hugest rant is that 14 and the 70. That 14-hour clock. Once I start that day, my 14-hour clock starts ticking. Back in the day when I started driving, we had what we called an 8-10. You could drive 10 hours. You had to take 8 hours off before you could drive again, or you could do a 5 and 5 split. But we didn't have no 14 clock counting down. So guess what that meant? That meant I could drive for 2 hours. If I got tired, I could stop and take a nap. If I got to Chicago at 7 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, or even 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening, guess what? I could stop. I could take a nap, 3-4 hour nap, and I could roll the rest of my hours and not have to worry about sitting in a traffic jam. That alleviated traffic, kept me from having to sit in traffic, and let me run my truck my way. But no, we can't do that no more. Our client, we're biting time. We're clicking down the hours, and that's kind of what I was getting at. This guy, PC, my friend, cannot do PC. It's illegal to do it in that situation that I was in. Bud Clark, take a nap. I can't take a 30-minute nap. When I lay down, it takes me 30 minutes just to get my thoughts out of my head, get my eyes back focused where they're not focused on the road, and I'm ready for sleep. And I much rather slept in my own bed that day. Took a shower in my own shower, or should I say a bath in my diva tub. This guy, David Moore. Just take a break, whiner. Just take a break, whiner, because that's what the law says to do. So instead of whining, we should just keep our mouths shut and let the status quo happen. That's how we got into this boat, guys. It's how we got in the boat that we're always getting into. We don't speak up when things are wrong. And by the time we do get pissed off, it's already changed and we're screwed. It's time drivers start crying and whining for the right reasons. Stop keeping your mouth shut. And if you stop keeping your mouth shut, maybe we can get together and unite and get things changed and get things changed for the frickin' better. Brian, if your company offers PC, then use it. Sometimes drive 3 hours, then take your half hour. Then bang, the rest of your time's out. Sounds to me like a lot of guys need to really know what and what you cannot do legally for PC. Russell, put her behind the wheel and shift the gears for her.
No.
So yeah, let's stick a seat cover behind the wheel that don't drive a truck and put everybody in danger.
Well, gee, thanks.
Well, no, it's true. You don't drive truck.
I do not drive truck.
Well, that's putting everybody in danger. It wasn't talking bad about you. It's be like putting someone that's never drove a truck in their life behind the wheel. I was gonna say me putting Yoda or Squish behind the wheel, but by themselves. James says, agree. As we know, some days, if you only could stop few hours, rest, or close to home, out of time, got to wait 10 hours. And that happens to a lot of drivers.
Yes.
You know, they'll get within 30, 40, 50 miles from the house, and their 70 runs out. And then you're really pissed because you got to do a 34-hour legally. You got to do a 34-hour break. It don't make sense.
Yeah, you can't go home to take your break.
I bet if one of them guys from the FMCSA had to run a logbook, and they were at their office building, and their 70 run out right there at that office building, and if they had to have a log to drive their car, and they were stuck at that office building for 34 hours before they can get back to the house, those laws would be changing pretty damn quick. True statements, absolutely correct. There was a whole bunch of them. Get your 30 out of the way when fueling. And we kind of discussed that. We were discussing that. I said disgusting. We were discussing that. I don't decide where I'm going to get fuel by my 30-minute breaks. I decide to get fuel by what the fuel cost is, what the state taxes are, what the federal highway use tax is, because that's what a good owner-operator does, is try to save as much money as possible. Another person saying you can do it while you're fueling. Amen. They have no idea what the drivers go through. Nothing worse than, here we go. Nothing worse than a bitchy trucker slow down on the highway. If you can make a comment, make it make sense. Jessica Anderson says, first, let's get it right. It's the damn insurance companies and lawyers that push these regulations in the name of safety. Statistics would show that it's more dangerous now that it's ever been. Now everyone in racing to beat the clock and rush and panic contribute to more accidents. Lawyers literally make a lucrative living off the back of the trucking industry. If you can drive anywhere in the country 10 miles without seeing a sign that asks hit by a truck, I understand what you're saying, but no, it's FMCSA that made that regulation. But I understand what you're getting at. No, it's these big mega carriers and the ATA that, what's the word I'm looking for? That represent these big mega carriers that push a lot of these dumb laws, like speed limiters and stuff like that, because they work for the benefit of these mega carriers instead of for the benefit of all drivers. The ATA does not represent me. The ATA does not represent you. They represent these big mega carriers and their bank accounts. Alistair says, so have you done 8 hours straight to drive with no break? You guys don't know you are living. Come to Europe and have a go. Okay, I'm not sure what Europe, what their laws are there. Brian says, has nothing to do with safety, it has to do with the unions. And of course they drove yellow into the ground. And I understand what you're getting at, and that's the big reason why the 30-minute break was put into place is for it wasn't for OTR guys. It was set up for a lot of these unions and these local places where they can stop and have their 30. But it seems like when they're making these laws, they make it for truckers all across the board, and it's not a one-size-all industry. What a local guy does and an OTR guy does is two different things, and they need to stop looking at us as all alike. Paulo says, and this is why you're a truck driver, because you don't understand the general way a human body works. If you pre-planned properly, you'd know it was going to be a tight one. Why didn't you drive 4 hours take a coffee break. The problem ain't the rules, it's the mentality. The harder you run, the more you in the industry is taking advantage. Raise rates to create better pay. That's the real problem. And I kind of get what he's saying, but know the situation. If it's 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, you just don't take your 30-minute break just anywhere. Otherwise, you're going to wind up being that guy that takes his 30-minute break at the fuel island, not getting fuel, right in the way of others trying to get fuel. I'm not that guy. When I trip plan accordingly. Don't worry about that. Believe me, I've got it covered. Even if you're so tired of it, park it, quit. I remember when all the old drivers said, "I will never run the LD."
And what are they doing?
We
now?
are one of those. He meant to say, were you one of those? Yet you are here whining about something you can solve easily? Solve it easily. Quit. Stop feeding your family. Stop putting food on the table. Heck, don't worry about putting a roof over your beautiful wife's head. Just stop. Hell, you've only done it for 30 years. Hell, you only got COPD and emphysema. You can get any job. Trucking's what I know. Trucking's what I love. Trucking's what I do. Eventually, I will have to stop trucking. But I'm not going to stop crying and whining about it. Because as soon as you keep your mouth shut, you're the problem. You are the problem for not speaking up against injustices and wrongs. You have to speak up. We have to unite and speak together. And if we don't, nothing ever changes. Eugene Perry, if you can't follow the rules, find another job. No, let's put people in there that know how to make rules that are right and fair and just. And let's put people in there that know trucking instead of pencil pushers and college graduates that have no idea what they're talking about when it comes to a truck. When these politicians want to know about trucking, guess who they ask? They ask the organization that represents us all, the ATA. They don't represent none of us. They represent the mega carrier. John Calloway, wheel holders. Well, guess what? We all hold the steering wheel. I know, like, that's supposed to be a derogatory term. Steering wheel holder. He's a steering wheel holder. Well, I sure hope you hold the steering wheel.
It's kind of an important job to do.
Tyrone says, I agree with the 30-minute break. Each his own. I get tired. I can't speak for everyone. Just because some drivers don't get tired doesn't mean all don't want to stop and eat and stretch. If you want to stop your truck, stop your truck. Stop for that 30 minutes. Stop for that hour. Heck, you know what I used to do? Like I said, back in the day, we didn't have to worry about that 14-hour clock. I'd shut down 2 or 3 hours to take a good nap if I felt the least bit tired. You know, I'm going to have to deal with Chicago traffic here in a little bit. Let's just shut down and let's get rolling again about 8 o'clock tonight, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock tonight, and roll on through. And we won't have to worry about that rush hour traffic there. We drove it the way we needed to drive it, the way we wanted to drive it, and the safest way to drive it, and the most economical and time-sensitive way to drive it. I'm not going to go through all these. I'm already at 24 minutes. I mean, we can go hours going through a lot of these. I just wanted to kind of go over how a lot of the drivers just don't understand, at least by the comments that I'm reading, what the rules and regulations show as far as unplug your ELD, unplug your, or use PC, get better acquainted with what the rules and regulations are. And like I said, hell, maybe I'm wrong. I don't think I was. Another thing I wanted to point out is we do need to speak up. We need to come together. It's not all about just bitching and crying and whining because I'm a truck driver. It's about wanting change and wanting change for the right. Enough said. Love you guys.
Love you guys. Bye.